Hello, welcome to Just Marys. And just noticed this message from the Minecraft Corporation: be anti-racist. I agree with the statement, although it coming from Microsoft is a little bit, well, I'm sure they've got their racism issues in the past, but you know, I mean, it's better to have giant corporations on your side than against you, I guess. But generally they're not the biggest of fans of being good. But anyways, let's not waste time with this and go straight into funworld. I haven't uploaded in a few days, maybe almost a week. I thought I'd just do a little quick one, you know, have a little fun in the old Minecrafting world. And if you want to have fun with me in the old Minecrafting world, you should subscribe. And so I was thinking, I saw this, well, it was really a tragedy, but it's a movie, a trilogy even. It's called The Lord of the Rings, and there's this guy, yeah? And I mean, he's basically a hero, but he's kind of a tragic hero. But anyway, so he sees this forest, yeah? And he just completely levels it and makes it into this amazing factory. Like he creates like a whole new type of people and births them in this amazing, like I said, factory landscape that he creates. And so the thing, it is a tragedy because he does kind of lose to some people who don't like that in the end, and he gets killed. But I was thinking, that's what I want to do to this forest. Just gonna level it, just completely leveling it. And then I will use all of the wood to, I don't know, make coal, I guess, and then burn that coal in honor of my great hero Saruman. But first I'll have a little sleep. And while I'm going to level the beautiful forest, not for long, I'm going to talk a little bit about news addiction, because that's been kind of on my mind lately. Perhaps you, dear listener and or viewer, or both, have been in a similar boat to me, since particularly through the administration of Donald J. Trump of the United States. There's just something crazy in the news every day. And I feel kind of like almost compelled to listen to it. And I found that to not be, well, not be very good for me, I would say. Okay, I can have 2 axes. That's not going to destroy all of the trees I want to destroy. So let's make a couple more. How does that work? And yeah, so I mostly, I mean, it's not like bad stuff per se. I watch a lot of German news, and I listen to podcasts, and I read news. I talked about like my news consumption and the media I do for that, use for that. Before, however, is that a bit too much? Well, I mean, I do want to flatten our whole forest, so I think it makes sense. But I feel like it has gotten a little bit of a problem, become a little bit of a problem for me. Particularly because, I mean, so I think like this kind of stuff is really, it makes you feel like you learning, like you should listen to it, like you're doing your civic duty perhaps, I don't know, and you're like, you can't look away and you shouldn't look away, that kind of thing. But ultimately I feel like it's not necessarily enriching me. And it's just too much too, right? Like, I mean, we never lived in a society where you could just hear whatever new thing, if it even is new or if it is relevant, happened. Like maybe you'd read a newspaper once a day or maybe twice or not at all. you didn't care. Or later on, you might watch, the evening news and get like some sort of picture through that. Of course, this comes with like similar problems that we have now, though, right? Like because, well, even more pronounced problems than we have now. Because back then, like there was basically just like one or two news sources that would edit the opinion in a specific way. Well, now we do have at least a multitude of news sources, which I think is also something that a lot of journalists and politicians do not like, because they feel like it's kind of taking away their special status and their influence, honestly, right? Like in a lot of ways. Oh, I fell. Terrible. Like the TikTok ban, for example, is kind of one of these power centers kind of striking back, because it feels like it doesn't have control anymore. With TikTok particularly, there were like articles that talked about how there's no wood in here, huh? Are there? How it was younger people on TikTok getting, well, non-mainstream views on the Israel-Palestine conflict. Well, namely that Israel is doing some really, really bad stuff that's not at all appropriate to what happened to them. Which, I mean, you can watch my previous content. I also agree with this is, but well, U.S. senators and Congress people did not agree with this, because they are completely on the side of, well, basically genocide, right? So, yeah, I went off on a tangent there. But anyway, so like my point is that you always have to actually think about who is portraying the news and in what way. And I've particularly noticed this when watching German kind of mainstream news sources, because they just, the framing of it is just so blatant and so clear, and it's like uniform, right? Like whatever they want to push through is going to be just like the topic every day. For example, in the run up for this latest election, all German media basically talked about was immigration and how it's bad. Like, it was framed this way already. Basically, like the question in a German talk show, a political talk show, would not be like, is immigration good for Germany? Is immigration bad for Germany? Right? Like, which might be like, which already is kind of a bit of an odd framing, but at least it's a bit more open. It's more like, so what is your party? What are you going to do against immigration, which we all agree is a problem? It's like, well, are you already, well, did you beg the question? I feel like that you might have. I feel like I'm possibly using this correctly. But either way, you have presupposed the answer, I guess. Or like a massive, oh, lava. Dangerous. You, like a question that is contentious, right? Like, because I personally, at least, and like a lot of other people too, think that Germany doesn't really have a massive problem with immigration. If anything, it's the opposite, that we have too little immigration, and then perhaps that the way that people are integrated and treated is underwhelming. But that's not an appropriate number, right? Like, that's not an appropriate answer to mainstream German news sources. It's like, okay, so how are we going to get rid of more immigrants? Now, I don't live in Germany, and I'm a little bit biased because I am an immigrant myself in a different country. But I'm also correct on this. So, yeah, either way, like for me, I've kind of found to circle back to the initial argument about news consumption. I'm not super straightforward about this, but I'm making progress. Kind of cool, right? Like, we're going to have our own little Isengard in no time. What do I want to say? Ah, yeah, circling back to the thing. So, I think I consume too much news, and I don't want to cut it out completely, probably, but I need to find like a better way to deal with it. And my hope is that by by reading more books, like more long form books, basically, and trying to, well, I guess like just spend more time with one topic, and perhaps also like, you know, write down my thoughts and then share them with you. I might be able to break through this kind of very shallow news consumption that I feel like I'm suffering from lately. And this chasm looks kind of cool, right? Do you want to go? Let's go down there. I'm hoping that I changed a couple of things around, and I think the frame rate should be a lot better now. So let me know if that's the case for you. Scary, very scary. And it was nothing. All right. It looks cool. Yeah, I'm hoping I'll get a better relationship with this kind of thing. And there definitely are like different levels of news sources. Some that like will teach you a little bit more about the surrounding, well, the context, I would say. Ooh, scary. The context of a news story, and something that will possibly enrich your full understanding of something. And then it's just things that kind of like you turn your brain off, and it's really mostly entertainment. And I try not to watch much of that anyways, but it could always be less. Yeah, I mean, I thought this topic might be... I feel like I'm lost in the dark forest now. I need to find my way back home. Like that Hansel and Gretel. Because they verliefen sich im Wald. Oh, okay, there we are. All right, okay, this looks pretty good, right? Like, yeah, we got space. We're gonna make this all flat, and then put iron everywhere, maybe. But yeah, I just wanted to get back into recording, and I thought this topic is A, on my mind, and B, a pretty easy one to talk about. I also still want to talk about that book, Grendel, I read, which was so good. It's just such a good book. I mean, whenever I read a book, they're usually pretty good. I feel like I know how to pick them. But then talking about them, it's always hard to be like, well, where do I start? What do I feel about this? Should I maybe do a little bit more of collecting my thoughts before I talk about it? I don't want to miss anything, because it's also like, you know, it's meaningful to me. Or yeah, I just, it's beautiful. So nice. I think I turned down some of the settings. I'm not sure if I turned them up again, but I mean, it's still beautiful no matter what, right? Yeah, so I guess I've been thinking about like writing a little bit more long form, and then using that as a jumping off point for my videos. It's so nice as it gets darker, right? Like the color comes out. It's beautiful. Just love looking at it. And the Minecraft music. It's nice. Very immersive. Yeah. So that's my thought. I have a couple more topics. Well, you guys tell me what you think about the news thing. What your stance is on this? Oh, there's a spider. Ah, spider. Yeah, what do you think about the news topic? And then you tell, and then I have this idea. Well, I will probably just talk about it, but I've been thinking about it lately, like particularly feminism. Broad topic, but well, men and oh shoot, is that thing fast? Men and feminism, and whether men should call themselves feminist, what the different aspects of. Holy shit, I might die. Holy shit, I'm definitely gonna die. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, whether to call themselves feminists and why different groups. Oh, thanks God. All right, let's just relax a little. Different feminist groups had different opinions on this, and men also, right? Like men who were progressive had different opinions on this. I have a couple thoughts on that. And then the other topic I had, let me just quickly remember. Oh, it's Ukraine. Ukraine, jeez. Big topic. So let me know which one of those you want to hear about. And give me all that engagement, you know. I need those views. And except for that, I'm going to try to sleep. And I will see you guys in the next one. Stay spooky, friends.